how we all look at the same problem in a different way, but maybe all are looking at the bottom of pyramid, how to earn for ourselves and create some social impact on these issues. In fact, I will ask Mr. Avijit Ray that there is even Government of India is going to create India International Innovation Fund of about 100 crore, and maybe other institutions will do it. How do you react to this type of ideas where innovation fund will be used only for social impact without much emphasis on enterprise success? Do you think there is a disconnect, or government should carry on these business side? How you take this India Innovation Fund?
I think it's an amazing move by the government, because innovations is required for, whether any enterprises, whether you talk social or otherwise. I think what we have to see is the learning in the market. I think we have seen in different parts of the world innovation has taken place. Even in India, a lot of sectors we have seen good amount of innovation has taken place. How we can take those learning? Even today, if you look at India, there would be at least 200 to 250 different successful social businesses. What is the learning out of that? Can we bring that to this platform, to the innovation fund, and say, hey, these are the things that has happened. Everything has not scaled up. Or even if it is scaled up, it is scaled up in certain geographies. Some products, it has made some impact, but not all the products. Let's say whether it is healthcare, whether it is education, whether it is water, whether it is sanitation, which are like huge demand in India. So can we take the small learnings in different parts of India, bring it to this forum and see that how can we take the learnings and then try to see which entrepreneurs can take up those learnings and go on a scale. Because I think Innovation Fund would also look at scaling many of these opportunities which are successful in different parts of India.
Now I will like ask Madam Malhotra ji. You said Karlo Duniya Muthi Mein. That means the Reliance Group created Access. In fact, it was more technology driven that they were at the right time at the right place. Maybe later on they expanded to such a level that now everybody has a mobile phone, maybe everybody has more than one. And now the 2 SIM, 3 SIM and 4 SIM mobile sets have also come. Earlier they were 1 kg, 300 gram, 400 gram. Now there is a competition that whose mobile is lighter than other one. But fact remains that the profit is in the bottom of pyramid. I mean, there's a lot of things are being talked on these lines. People say that if you invest in poor people, you may not be bankable. But if you are bankable, you need not deal with the poor man's product. As you have rightly said, we are trying to solve the problem of the rich, then trying to solve the problem of poor, and then creating a social impact of it. What is your take on it?
So, I know with the Reliance example, I was oversimplifying an argument, but it was only to make a point. I think there's huge scope today in all of our work that we're doing. We see that there's huge scope where you can impact the bottom of the pyramid. But the approach that at the incubator at IIT Madras, the approach that we used to take was that how can we first put money in that system rather than see how we take that money out. Because in lots of places, we are assuming that the bottom of the pyramid needs that service. We are going with that attitude, but you have to go there and learn that they need very different kind of services. And you need to give that business 2, 3, 5 years for it to learn. And I think like Akshay was saying, it is a 10-year commitment. Without that time frame, nothing can sort of come out. So.
Yeah, adding on to what Saloni said, very interesting point on the Reliance thing itself. I don't know, many people may or may not know. When the proposal for this telecom thing was put up to, this is learned from one of the doyens of the Indian business, that when it went to Ambani sir, the big Ambani sir, Dhirubhai Ambani, so he asked, after all the presentation the management guide and both the sons made, he just asked one thing, have you worked out the economics? They said, yes. What is the price of it? So the guy was trying to calculate what is the per unit price or whatever. And he said, does a call or a SMS cost less than the postcard? I think if that is the case, you are building a model on that. I'm giving you the permission to whatever, 800 crores, 8,000 crores. So I think two things. One of the learning here is what he talked about when he said that the cost of a postcard is that, is it affordable? Very clearly. So I think in his mind also it was very clear that until unless you make it affordable, because you are talking of a mass scale, it needs to be affordable. And the other part which many of social entrepreneurs like us back is the huge amount of funding commitment that the group had, which helped them to go to that level to commit that investment. So this is a trivia I want to share.
We just heard Akshay talking about something on the same line. Would you like to elaborate a little more on this issue that you raised regarding making money initially and then investing money in the society, or payback time, something like that?
So I think I have very similar views to what Saloni said. I think it's, and she put it well. I think, when you most businesses we would start, and when I say we, it's mostly, we come from sort of social strata where the businesses we have the most, or the problems we have the most empathy for, true empathy for or understanding of, are problems of the rich. I think in our own work, it's been very apparent that, our first hypothesis on what we needed to deliver to people who had a little bit less was completely wrong, right? And I think as you get into, working with people who have a little bit less than you, or just come from different places than you, it takes a good 2, 3, 4 years to really understand what it is that you're trying to solve at all. And the question then becomes, how do you sustain yourself as a business while you're learning? And I think for us, the answer was fairly straightforward. It was like, we understand this problem quite well for one segment, and there's no reason not to serve it. But at the same time, we have to be very cognizant that we will not scale unless we, invest the money, on our own money, not so much investor money, but the money we make in trying to understand it better for the segment that we'd scale. And in that way, it's not really that different from what ITC does or what Reliance did. Because for all of these companies, and this is where I think it's actually quite interesting running a social enterprise, because at a company that's, at 1 crore revenue or, half a crore of revenue, you're trying to think like, a giant multinational that's trying to expand to hundreds of crores of rupees. So it's a lot of fun, but it's also quite interesting and challenging in its own way.
Yeah, Naveen, you talked about rickshaw. Now this e-rickshaw is being seen as a problem for the city. Do you find any correlation between this e-rickshaw and the rickshaw that you are trying to promote and all those things?
Actually, I would like to share one example regarding this. We were one of the identification and training partners of CM Cycle Rickshaw scheme in the state of Uttar Pradesh last year. And when the Chief Minister called us for a meeting, he wanted to know how, because the state minister wanted to remove all the manual rickshaws from the road, make the state look neat and clean by deploying the electric rickshaws. From my past 5 to 6 years of experience with this community, I suggested the committee that there are about 2.5 lakh rickshaws in UP which are registered, and the unregistered numbers are double. So 2.5 lakhs rickshaws needs 2 batteries, one rickshaw needs 2 batteries each. So it's 5 lakhs batteries. 5 lakh batteries just within the rickshaws. Then they have to develop an ecosystem where this charging needs to be done. We suggested that you convert the petrol pumps into some charging stations where people can take the battery off, get the new battery, charged battery in, pay 20 rupees and move on. So again, you have to keep a 5 lakhs battery stock in the ecosystem. And all these batteries will go bad in 12 to 18 months' time. So what are we going to do about that? From the rickshaw puller's point of view, in the manual rickshaw, if something breaks, a spoke breaks, it costs you 3 to 5 rupees. And it can be repaired by the rickshaw puller himself. But in the e-rickshaw, the maintenance cost is higher. Although he earns doubles, but there is a need of ecosystem to be created before, implementing this scheme in the full-fledged way. We need to look at what kind of ecosystems should be created and which are conducive for, e-rickshaws to run on the road. Thank you.
In fact, it is said that where there is money for all the stakeholders, including the customer, such enterprises prosper faster. And where there is only money for the promoter or for that purpose entrepreneur, and customer gets a feeling that he is not getting value for money, such enterprises do not last long. And whether it be social enterprise or any economic enterprise. But looking at your Desi crew, I think it needs little more elaboration so that how you are spreading and converting rural BPOs, and this itself is a good business, because people are saying that people who are coming from the new technocrats who are coming from the market, they are not industry ready. Their skill sets are wanting. How are you handling this problem as such at your level, Desi crew? You must have faced this problem? Yeah, skilling, yeah.
I think with scaling Desi Crew, the biggest challenge is that of, when I go to anyone in this room who runs an organization, when I come to you and I say, we have a rural BPO, the image you have in your head is, I don't have electricity in Gurgaon. Are you telling me you have electricity in Appakudal? I don't get to hire good talent here and retain talent. Are you telling me there are more talented people in some village which I've never heard of? And I think it's extremely difficult to sell it in a boardroom or in an office over here. The people who come, take the time to come visit our office, they see the magic that one can create in some place like that. And the biggest challenge we have is perception. So we've been able to scale to about 300 full-time staff and 350 part-time staff. We've served very big clients like Google. All of you use Google Maps, I'm sure. We plotted 88 countries on Google Maps. We work with Huffington Post, with Infosys, with top 5 life insurance companies. And we've been able to scale to a certain extent, but to go to the next level, it's the participation of large corporates that's required in large numbers.
Looking at your experience, do you find this venture capital and other capital where the source of fund are there, they are willing to take up social enterprise funding? Are they treated differently?
I think there are two set of investors we deal with. One, pure play social investors who are very clear they have a double bottom line or a triple bottom line approach, and the others are investors. We just look at profit as or making return as their primary criteria. So what has happened, the consciousness of social business or diverting wealth towards social businesses. In the West, it has been prevalent for quite some time now. We have seen people like Pierre Omidyar, people like Bill Gates and all others have committed a huge amount of money, and many of them have done not only for not-for-profit or grant-based activities, many of them also put in for-profit enterprises as well. So there is a huge amount of interest, and we see when we take companies to different investors, we see if the company is scalable, can become really big and has a certain level of growth, both investors like it, whether it is social or it is a commercial investor. So I think if there's a scale in the business, I'll give a couple of examples probably. One here, we worked with a company called Forus Healthcare. Forus makes ophthalmology device, which can do 5 tests without dilation of the eyes, and the machine costs like 1/5 of what a Philips or Siemens machine cost. It is portable, can be taken in a suitcase, and a minimally trained guy can operate the machine or run the tests. So first round when we did, we got one funder coming in. It was like a couple of years back, and just in 1.5 years we did the second round. First round was 25 crores. Obviously there was an angel round, 25 crores, and the second round we did just in 1.5 years was a 50 crore round. Won't believe, the amount of interest we could get from mainline investors, because they saw this scaling up potential is so huge. The company revenue was not great. It was only a 7-8 crores revenue, but they invested 50 crores. And what they see there, they saw the scale. So I think if you see scale, it doesn't matter. Whosoever the investor is, if they see there's a scale in the business, they're ready to come and invest. I think just one point from Saloni, on the how to scale and what are the challenges in this. I'll quote another example. There's a company called Vindhya E-Infomedia. Now the promoter decided they will run a BPO, but clearly they will run a BPO with only disabled people, people who are differently enabled. Now that's a conscious call that they're very clear that this segment doesn't get job. How can I train them and bring them to the mainstream? Today, out of 700 people, there are 550 who are disabled. Rest are, somehow from economically, improvised backgrounds, because there are certain criteria that you need to have ramps, and also some of them are placed in certain locations where they don't have ramp and other facilities which are friendly for disabled. So overall, this company has grown at a certain pace. I wouldn't say really great, but they are profitable. There also 2 social investors came in earlier, and I think it's a question of couple of years. The way now they have picked up, I think after 2 years, the scale would be good enough for getting the mainline investors as well.